The first season under Bill Belichick is nearly underway. The 12-game slate is in front of us, and it starts next week as TCU comes to North Carolina. What's going on, guys? My name is Nathan. I am one half of your Heel Brothers, and I'm excited for football to get back here. We are just 6 days away from the day that I'm recording this. I think 5 days away from when this is going to be uploaded, and I'm looking forward to seeing North Carolina come out, and I'm really curious as to what this team is going to look like. And they've got a tough game right off the rip, but I wanted to take the time today to take all 12 games, top to bottom, and rank them from the least hardest to the most hardest. Tell me what you guys think my list is going to be. What is your list down there? Be sure and drop it down below, and let's get started in 3, 2, 1. And of course, we're going to go from number 12 to number 1, because why would we want to spoil the top one to begin with? So at number 12, who do you guys think it is? It is Richmond. North Carolina's week 3 matchup against Richmond. I think it's the only game in the first 4 weeks. It's not a night game. I think it's a 3:30 game. FCS team in Richmond. I put them at number 12 because considering they are an FCS, and we always know how that goes. Now, that's not to say anything bad about Richmond. It's just the difference between FCS and Power 4. With them coming in, I think it's going to be, number one, I think it should be a crazy atmosphere. I think all season inside of Kenan Stadium, unless North Carolina just comes out and craps the bed in the first 2 weeks against TCU and at Charlotte, I think especially considering ticket prices and everything, I think this stadium should be just as filled as any of the other ones are going to be this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Carolina does in this one. A good tune-up game in week 3 to get ready for their week 4 matchup at UCF going into the bye week right after that. And I do think this is going to be the least hardest on the schedule, but always a good time to have FCS teams come into Kenan. Next up at number 11, we're going to go back a week to week 2, and that's at Charlotte. Now, this game's going to be interesting because last year, I think I picked this game as the 12th game on, like the 12th hardest schedule, or the 12th hardest team on the schedule. And they were trying to figure out who they were going to be. I thought it would be a kind of a breeze for North Carolina, and I was at that game. And needless to say, it was a game there for a little while. And one thing I have to say is that the Charlotte 49er fans are really, really loud and rabid. And this is at their house. This is all the way down there at Jerry Richardson Stadium. I think I'm saying that right. And I think that this game, while it's not going to be, I put it at number 11, and I don't want to discredit the game because I think this atmosphere is more than likely going to be really loud. It's going to be really active, and those Charlotte 49er fans are going to be crazy. And not only that, guess who they just named the starting quarterback over there? Connor Harrell, the guy that got the start against Charlotte last year, and it didn't go so well. It wasn't but just the next game that Jacoby Criswell took over for Connor Harrell. So this is going to be kind of a revenge game for Connor Harrell. This game is sneakily good, in my opinion, but where my expectations are, and this is just my personal ones, you may be different. My expectations is that North Carolina should go down there in a 7 p.m. game in Jerry Richardson Stadium and take care of the Charlotte 49ers. Brand new head coach in Tim Albin. They're trying to figure some things out. And, quarterback being one of them, of course, with Connor Harrell. How is he going to do? I'm curious. Rooting for the guy. Really hope he does well over there. I hope they win all the games except for week 2. Moving on to number 10. Another home game late in the season. It's actually going to start the last 4 games for North Carolina, in which they don't leave the state of North Carolina for 4 straight weeks to end the season, and that being the Stanford game. Now, this is preseason, of course. Stanford has already played their first game. They played week 0 at Hawaii, and they didn't look half bad over there. Now, the Rainbow Warriors haven't been Warriors, to say the least, in quite some time. So, things could be skewed a little bit. So, Stanford could very well end up being a fairly solid opponent. We will see. But considering it where they are, they did bring in Andrew Luck over there. I think Frank Reich as well. They got a lot that they're trying to figure out over there. And I don't see this being a very difficult game for North Carolina. Stanford's having to travel all this way over to UNC. We don't know where they're going to be in the season. Their schedule is fairly daunting, leading up to North Carolina. The 4 weeks before they get to us, they're at SMU, home against Florida State, at Miami, home against Pitt, and then at North Carolina. So they could be pretty banged up with those teams. So I figure that Carolina should be able, in my opinion, to start, to heal the late game skids that we've been having over the last few years with a win against Stanford. Next up, at Wake. It's the game right after Stanford. Wake Forest is a team that is, brand new head coach over there. I like who they brought in at head coach, but they got a couple cool players over there, like the running back over there. I don't want to butcher his name. They've got a decent team, but Wake Forest has not been the Wake Forest that we saw a number of years ago with Sam Hartman as their quarterback. It hasn't been the same for them ever since, and they're trying to figure out who they are, rebuilding right now. This is the first year under a brand new head coach, so they've got some kinks that they need to work out. They gave us a run last year in that game. Carolina wasn't doing too hot, and Wake Forest did come in there and give us a run all the way to the end inside of Keenan. This is at Wake Forest. I think it should be an interesting game, but I do think that Carolina should be able to go in there and take care of business. Next up at number 8. Now, I'm putting this one at number 8 currently. Like I said, we are in preseason now. Considering at how the team did last year and where they're trying to get to, and that is week 4 against UCF. And this is at UCF. This is the Knights. Now, UCF has been a very good team for quite some time now. Pretty solid. And now that they've brought Scott Frost back, they're hoping to be again. Last year, a 4-win team. From what I'm seeing so far in the offseason, it doesn't look like there's a lot of standouts for them. I'll find out a little bit more as we do more research into them going into week 4 for our scouting report and everything else. But UCF is trying to reignite an old flame with Scott Frost. Now, sometimes that works. Very often it doesn't. We know that very well with Mac Brown and how everything ended up going with him here. So this game could be really, really difficult for North Carolina, honestly, and it could very well at the end of the season end up being one of the hardest games that we've played. That is for sure. But with it being at 8, the reason it's at 8 for me is because where they are, what they're trying to build on, I think it's going to take them a year or two to get back to the UCF of old. Hopefully Scott Frost can get them going in the right direction. I think they return the favor and come to us next year, so we'll see. But I do think Carolina should be able to go to and maybe have to pull away later in the game, maybe in the second half, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, but I do believe they should be able to take care of this game. At number 7, and we're starting to get midway, Virginia. This game right here is always a tricky one for me. So North Carolina's been able to handle Virginia pretty consistently up until 2 years ago. Actually, I was in attendance for. There's a vlog on this channel about it, and it was a really sad day. 6-0 in the country, and 6-0 and 10th in the country. Drake May, Heisman contender, possibly. North Carolina, could they possibly get back to the ACC championship? And they lose that game. Now, last year they righted those wrongs. They went to Virginia and decimated him. Tony Elliott has been in there for a couple of years. Unfortunately, he's had to deal with some very heartbreaking things. The tragedy that was a couple of years ago with the shooting and trying to reform this team. I think Tony Elliott has got this team going in the right direction. I think that they will be a bowl game or a bowl team this year. We'll see. I think they could potentially win the Commonwealth. We'll see. I don't know, but I like where Virginia is heading. But I do think that North Carolina should be able to win this game. But against Virginia, it's going to be a difficult game for North Carolina. Virginia is starting to find a rhythm, and them coming back to Keenan, rivalry game. This is going to be technically the first rivalry game for Bill Belichick, being the oldest rivalry in the South. I do think this game has the potential to be a pretty fun one. We will see. But Carolina's got to be careful with Virginia because Virginia is not a pushover, and I don't think it's going to be easy like it was for them last year. So I think that Carolina, even though it is in Keenan and our crowd should be better during that time, unlike it was, a couple of seasons ago, I do think that this is a game that is going to be very, very fun to watch. Number 6 is at Cal. Now, if you guys don't remember, Cal has actually had North Carolina's number. They played a number of years ago, later on in the Larry Fedora tenure, and Cal just absolutely destroyed North Carolina. Now, this is the first time that Carolina's had to go to the West Coast. It's going to be interesting. I'm glad to see that the Rams Club is actually hosting some type of like watch party or some type of party out there. I think before the game, maybe, or whatever the case may be. So they're trying to get, a good presence out there. Hopefully our Carolina fans, they show up out there. I'd love to be out there myself, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make that, unfortunately. But this is going to be a difficult one for North Carolina. Now, given they are coming off of a bye week, they'll have a bye week after playing Clemson. Then they get the bye. Then they go at Cal. First game across the country on the All-Coast Conference that we are. And I think Bill Belichick will have them ready to go for this game. But Cal's going to get up, and Cal it's sneakily a very solid program. And now that they got a really good fan base over there, they're going to be loud. They're going to be excited. And Carolina needs to make sure, no matter what, especially if they take a loss to Clemson coming in, or even no matter they win or lose, Cal's a team that can sneakily get you. And they started that last year, where Cal was starting to upset a couple of people early on in their season until, unfortunately, their season fell off. They did lose a number of players. Their quarterback, their running back, they did flip a big 5-star commit quarterback. I think is their starter. I do believe, I could be wrong, from Oregon over to Cal. So Cal is another place that is trying to refine themselves, and Carolina has to watch out when they go out there to the West Coast. 5 through 1 is going to be ones that either I'm going to lose you or you're going to agree with me. It's going to be one of the two, and I'm okay with anything. I want all the smoke. I want all the chaos. This is my rankings, and I want to see yours as well. You may completely disagree with me, and I'd love to see what you guys have to think. But number 5 for me is going to be Duke. And the reason that is, Manny Diaz last year, they had a great team. They had a 9-win team last year and seemingly did a really good job in the portal, brought in the quarterback Mensah out of Tulane. Seems to be a really highly touted quarterback. I think Carolina even wanted him a little bit as well. I could be wrong there. And they also brought in a running back. They brought in a number of players. They're retaining a lot on defense. This is going to be a heck of a game. This is the game last year that you had them 20-0, and then the defense just stopped playing in the second half. This is a rivalry game. This is the battle for the victory belt. Belichick said in his press conference, his first words were beat Duke. So that is already on a bulletin board over there in Durham. We already know that. So this is going to be a really fun and electric game. Carolina can very easily lose this game if they are not careful. Duke's got a good squad this year. I know we don't like to admit that, but that is true. They've got a good squad, and Carolina needs to watch themselves when they host those puke devils. Number 4 is at NC State, the last game of the year. And I honestly could rank this higher, and we'll talk about it in a second, but I've got it at 4 because the top 3, I could see Carolina possibly losing. I could honestly see them losing this game too if they're not careful. NC State, their Super Bowl is North Carolina. We understand this. It's no secret that NC State absolutely hates North Carolina, and they are perfectly okay with, even if their season's horrible, as long as they win and beat North Carolina, they're okay. They don't care. Screw the rest of it. As long as we beat North Carolina, that's all we care about. This is at Raleigh. This is in Carter Finley. This is the first game under Bill Belichick inside of Carter Finley. This is going to be a hornet's nest. It always is anyway, but it's going to be even more so. The players, there was already tweets of them throwing darts at a picture of Belichick during the offseason after Belichick was announced as head coach. The rivalry just keeps on giving. This thing got really feisty last year. We were at that game, Mac Brown's last game. It was a heartbreaker to say the least, but Carolina has got to watch themselves. I do think that Bill will have them prepared, but this is a game that NC State will go to any lengths to beat you. Doesn't matter if it's by 1 point. They don't care. As long as they win, that's all they care about. North Carolina's got to be careful up there in Raleigh. Number 3 is a game I actually penciled in as a loss, and that's Halloween night at Syracuse. Fran Brown's doing a great job over there. I really, really enjoy watching what he's doing over there. I think he's building Syracuse up the right way. I think he's a great spokesperson. He's a guy that's kind of atypical for Syracuse in the football department. And to see what he did come in, but they won 9 games last year, got Clemson into beat Miami at the end of the season after, literally after they were getting beat. We had kind of written them off in the middle of that day, and boom, they come back and they beat them. This Syracuse team, he's recruiting at a high level. Syracuse is the real deal, man. And I like what Fran Brown's doing. I think that they're going to lose this game. I got him at 3 for a reason, and we'll talk about it once you understand 2-1. Fran Brown's doing a great job. This is going to be an electric atmosphere because I think he's really got that fan base believing in their football program, and rightfully so. They're doing a great job. So excited to see what Syracuse football does. They've got a good year ahead of them, I think, and it's going to be a fun time up there on Halloween night. Number 2, we are just 5 days away from TCU coming to North Carolina. Game 1, the big game. Everything that we've been building up for 9 months comes to a head this game. First game out, TCU is not a bad team at all. They got a great quarterback in Josh Hoover. Sonny Dykes, he's coached this team to a national championship game. TCU's been a very good program. They're not talked about enough. Last year they had a quietly good year. Last year, won 9 games, and honestly could have won more. They were not so great in 1-score games. So this is a really good team. North Carolina has to figure out who the heck they are. This is going to be the first time they are on the field together against an opponent, and this is one heck of an opponent that knows who they are. This is going to be crazy. ESPN Countdown, aka Game Day, is going to be there. It's Monday night, Labor Day night. You're the last team to play in week 1, and you've got the TCU Horned Frogs coming. This is going to be an electric atmosphere, and it's going to be a nervous atmosphere, to say the least, because this right here will start the Bill Belichick era, and all the pressure compounds into this game right here. This is going to be crazy. It's going to be so fun, so fascinating, and honestly, I don't know if my heart's ready to go through the ride that is going to be that Monday night, September 1st. This is going to be a great game. Carolina can easily lose this game if they're not careful, and they're going to have their hands full. Needless to say, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And number 1, as if you didn't know who I was going to pick, it's going to be Clemson, and I'll tell you why. North Carolina and Clemson have had some fun matchups over the last 3 years, or the last 6 years now. 3 different matchups. The first year back under Mac, they came. This was when the Clemson Tigers were number 1 of the country, fresh off a national championship. They come to Keenan, and we very nearly beat them. Got stopped right there on the 1-yard line. Unfortunately, weren't able to beat that team. And then we met again in the ACC championship game. That wasn't so hot. And then you had the last matchup at Clemson a couple of years ago, where you really had them down 21-0, but you fumbled 3 times in the end zone. So you beat yourself up here. This is Dabo Swinney. This is the standard. Clemson is the standard. They're the reigning ACC champions. They are currently, I think, number 4 in the country coming in. They are the team that everybody is looking at in the ACC. Bill Belichick and Dabo Swinney just did a sit-down interview back a couple of months ago with Reese Davis. That was really fun and really awesome. These are 2 legendary head coaches coming together. Their 2 teams are going to face off for the first time. This is the first time I ever saw Belichick versus Swinney. ever, and it's going to be in Keenan. I expect it to be a night game, and this is going to be a standard right here. If Carolina comes into this game, possibly, let's just say possibly, they come into this game 4-0, and they go up against this Clemson team, a win there would be massive. A loss doesn't really hurt you, but it sets a standard. How that game goes will set a standard for where Carolina is to where they want to go. And this will kind of give Belichick an idea of, okay, however the first 4 weeks went, this is the standard. This is how we are against the big boys. And then that's something you can build off of. With the easy schedule, this is the big marquee game. You get the bye week before. They get the same bye week as you, by the way. So everybody's kind of sitting pretty and ready to go for that first game. But you get the bye week before. Then you get Clemson. Then you get a shot at the king of the ACC, and you get to test and see where you are. And I think I'm excited to see what Carolina does in that stage. And it's going to be huge for Carolina. Carolina fans, our university, this is where we're trying to figure out where we're going. It's a huge game, and it's a game that could very well set the tone for Carolina, and as a big recruiting night for North Carolina as well. Man, you're probably gonna host a lot of big recruits that night. Maybe even some people that have Clemson on their radar as well. Who knows? And you have a chance to really swing their interest and swing the interest of the country and recruits and the national media as well. All of that. This game right here holds a lot of weight for where Carolina is going to go under the Belichick era. So there you have it. That's my top 12. I had them ranked in order where I think they are the hardest. Let me know where you guys think down below. I want to know if you guys agree. If you think my list is off by a little bit, let me know down in the comments below. We'll get that conversation going. I hope you guys are excited for Carolina football, man. I know I am. This is going to be a crazy season under Belichick for the first time, and I'm looking forward to what's coming next. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.